Hi, so today I'm going to be looking at the pros and cons of owning a chinchilla and whether one of these little critters is right for you. Chinchillas are extremely fascinating to own and to watch. The way they move, the way they jump, the way they run, the way they eat is fascinating to me. I could watch them for hours on end, they're so entertaining. They all have their unique personalities and they're just adorable to watch. They're so unusual. This is the one that I think makes them get rehomed quite a lot, is that they can be very skittish. If you get a chinchilla that hasn't been handled or hasn't had a great experience in the past, say for example you're rehoming a chinchilla, they can be extremely skittish. A lot of them don't like being handled. It can be difficult to hold. They're not cuddly animals like cats and dogs, or even rabbits or guinea pigs. They won't sit there and want to be stroked. However, I am lucky. I have got maybe 20 odd chinchillas that are perfectly tame, don't mind being stroked and cuddled at all, but then I bred them, so I've handled them since they were born, so they're quite used to me, they're quite comfortable with being held, so it depends on where you get them from and the personality of the chinchilla, but a lot of them don't like being handled at all, and that can be an issue. If you want a nice cuddly animal that's going to sit on your lap, then a chinchilla is not right for you. Pro number 2, they're pretty much, I'm not going to say they're odourless because that would be a lie. All animals have odour, including cats, dogs, rabbits, chinchillas, everything has an odour, but they're not it's not a very strong odour. It's not like rats or mice. If you keep their cage nice and clean, and if you dust bath them regularly, they're not going to smell. The most smell you're going to get is probably from the food and the hay, to be honest with you, rather than the chinchilla itself. Next con is they are very, very messy. They can poop 200 times a day or more, and unfortunately the poop doesn't always stay in their cage. They tend to fling it everywhere. You'll find poop in places that you haven't had a chinchilla in. Rooms that you haven't had the chinchilla in, you'll find poop in there. Luckily the poop is quite dry, so it's quite easy to clean them when they have made a mess. All you do is you sweep it up or use a vacuum cleaner to clean it. The next pro I would say is that they're fairly intelligent animals. You can teach them tricks with positive reinforcement. Although I said before that most of them don't like being held, they still will interact with you. If you have them out during playtime, once they get used to you that you're not a threat, they will use you as a climbing frame, no doubt about it, they will. They'll be on your head, they'll be on your shoulder, they'll be on your legs. They love to climb, so you get that interaction with them, and they might not like to be held, but if it's on their terms, they won't mind coming over and using you as a climbing frame at all. They'd be more than happy to do that, because once they know that you're not a threat, they're just like, oh, you're another bit of equipment that I can climb. So I think they make fascinating pets. Con is they will chew everything. If you have nice wooden furniture, you don't want to let a chinchilla out in that room, because they will chew everything. Skirting boards, wallpaper, wiring, which is why it's so important to keep a chinchilla in a safe space when you let them out. Yeah, they'll just wreck your house basically. If you keep it to one room, it's not as bad. Keep them in a room that you don't mind whether the skirting boards get a bit nibbled on, or you don't mind if you've got wallpaper, but don't mind whether they rip the wallpaper in a certain room. If if you don't want it to happen all over your house, then don't let them out all over your house. Just let them out in one room that you feel comfortable in, that's chin safe. Next pro, I would say it's pro. Some people would say it's a con, but I think it's a massive pro, but other people would say it's a con, is their lifespan. If you get a chinchilla that's bred from healthy lines and is looked after correctly, where are you going? Looked after correctly, they can live up to 20 years plus. So they're not like hamsters or mice. They won't live 3 years and then die. So it's a long-term commitment if you want one. Now people have got to remember that you've got to think about, in 10 years time, I know that everybody's lives change, but are you going to be able to look after this chinchilla for the entire time of his life, which could be up to 20 years? That's what you've got to think about. It's a long-term commitment. You need to keep one of the rooms in your house cold. If you're not willing to have your heating off in one of the rooms of your house where your chinchilla is, then you shouldn't have a chinchilla, because they like a nice cold environment. They have got extremely thick fur and can overheat very, very quickly, and overheating can cause death. Next, this can be a con or it can be a pro. They're crepuscular, which means that they are most active at dusk and dawn, which means that during the day they will be sleeping, which means if you want a daytime pet, this is not the right one for you. They are, even though they're crepuscular, they are more active at night, and they do bang about a bit at night. But yeah, if you want, if you're working all day and you've got time in the evening from that's perfect, because they're asleep during the day. If you're not available in the evening, in the mornings, then this is probably not the best pet for you. They are actually quite easy to keep. Once you've done your research and you know what's safe for them and what's not safe for them, once you've done all that, they're not complicated animals to keep. I don't understand people online that say they're very, very complicated. Sorry. I don't understand people that say that they're very, very complicated to keep, because really, they're just not. Once you know what you're doing with them, they're quite easy. I mean, yes, they do have health risks, as with any animal, and health problems. They can have health problems, but generally speaking, they're easy pets to keep once you know what you're doing. It's just knowing the research first and knowing what you can and can't do with them, knowing what treats you can give them and what treats you can't, knowing that they shouldn't really have that many treats in the first place. Diet is one of the main issues that people seem to struggle with the fact they give them the wrong type of food, which makes them ill. So if you get your diet right and your cage set up right, then you're pretty much there with it, really. Yeah.